Representative Kalin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this vote's very personal for me. Since getting the veto letter, I've been incredibly sad and incredibly worried for our state. 15 years ago, my brother, after working long hours like we have at a summer camp, passed out at the wheel. And he slumped over the steering wheel. His foot hit the accelerator, and he swerved across a two-lane road. And going over 100 miles an hour, we think, he hit the ditch, which acted like a ramp, and sent the car that he was borrowing several feet in the air, cracking a tree in half and making his car tumble over and over. Somehow, miraculously, the car ended up driver's side up, on its side, and my brother climbed out. And the last thing that people remember him saying, those who ran to find him likely dead in the vehicle, was asking about his hands. He's a piano player. They put him on a Lifelink helicopter, and they sent him to the Twin Cities. And I remember sitting in the waiting room near the emergency room at Hennepin County at HCMC, holding hands with the chaplain as my brother was wheeled through the door on a gurney, strapped to the back brace. In 2004, my predecessor, Representative Pete Nelson, as you know, suffered a severe accident in his butcher shop. He arrived at Fairview Lakes, Wyoming, with no pulse. He needed multiple units of blood quickly. They stabilized him. That hospital, Fairview Lakes, Wyoming, will suffer a $957,000 cut because of this veto, the largest employer in my district. Now, Representative Nelson was stabilized, thank God, and was brought down here to Regions Hospital. His life was saved by the good people with caring hands in Wyoming and in St. Paul. Regions Hospital faces up to a $46 million cut under this veto. And I remember I was halfway out the door 15 years ago when my mom got the call from northern Wisconsin about my brother. And we're fortunate enough to have a friend who works in crisis management for hospitals. And she picked up the phone and asked Dr. Knox where he would send my brother. And he said, send him to the best level 1 trauma center emergency room in the upper Midwest. Send him to HCMC. Members, that hospital faces as much as a $108 million cut under this veto. These are not local hospitals alone. They are our healthcare infrastructure. Some of you know my wife is a physician, and she did some of her residency at both Regions and HCMC. These deep cuts will not only affect medical education, they will require tougher choices than we face here on the House floor. They may require the terrible, terrible choice of closing one of the preeminent level 1 trauma centers in the upper Midwest. I urge members to support the override vote of this veto.